Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to my stream. So I didn't stream on Monday night as usual. I wasn't feeling too good, so decided to take a break. Feeling a bit better tonight. Not 100%, but definitely better. So last week, or last stream, we were working on trying to figure out why, I think it was Spinball. Is this Spinball that I got configured here? Like why Spinball doesn't quite work correctly. So here we zoom in, and then we zoom in much too much. And in fact, we can see that there are invalid cartridge reads and all that. I think pretty much at the moment where we zoom in too much, right? Let me see here. So let's say start. See, we're all good, we're all good, we're all good, and then oh, see that? As soon as we started zooming in too much, we got a whole bunch of invalid cartridge reads. So definitely whatever the bug is, it's related to something here, which is kind of cool actually. It's interesting. Maybe we could figure this out actually by stopping on when we have an invalid read and then looking at the series of instructions that led us up to there. So that's definitely one option. But there was something else I was thinking about in terms of maybe a different approach to solving this. So what I've been doing so far is I've been using this this other emulator called Vectrex and using its CPU implementation, which is really nice and clean, as a way to kind of compare it against mine. I haven't actually really looked at the code of it. I just use its, I try not to look at the Vectrex implementation, so I'm not copying its solutions, and copying its code, but I just wanted to, like, as though I had an actual hardware that I could trace and debug and compare, which I can't really do with my Vectrex. That's how I use the Vectrex CPU. And the thing is, it worked for quite a while, but now I'm starting to have some trouble with it. Like last stream, I had some trouble because I want to be able to like start debugging a game at a certain point and do the same thing with the other one, and then be able to compare the trace of the two. And it's a bit complex, right? So I mentioned thoughts that I was having on how to maybe address that issue. One of them was, having my emulator effectively run 2 emulation cores at the same time within it. So like have, 2 instances of my emulator, so to speak, and then, try to execute one with one CPU and one with the other. But to be honest, that's not super trivial to get up and running. There's a lot of things that I would have to change. Like a lot of my graphics code and all that assumes that there's one render output. I'd have to kind of address that. Plus the way I hacked in Vectrex, it's kind of like a invisible replacement for the CPU. I would have to kind of allow it to have multiple CPU implementations. And it's nothing that I couldn't do. But then I had another thought that might be more interesting, perhaps simpler to implement. That is, I was thinking, what if I use like a network socket, right? And like have like a server client based thing where I have 2 emulators, one server, one client, and like the server is executing instructions and then telling the client, and the client is waiting, and every time the server executes an instruction for a certain amount of time, so if we look here and execute instruction, right? Every time we execute instruction, we then tell the other emulator to go ahead and execute one instruction as well, and we also send the other emulator the resulting trace info that we've built up. We serialize it, send it to the other side. The other one will execute its instruction, build its trace info, and then compare the two. And with this kind of system, we can have it so that we launch the emulator, launch the other one, and both of them run the same ROM and start executing at the same time. We should actually have 2 separate outputs because we'd be running 2 processes. And we'd be able to stop as soon as there's a difference. And in fact, we can even decide what a difference really means. Like right now when I look at differences between the traces, I have to kind of like, you know, sort of ignore certain things, but we could programmatically ignore things. We could decide what part of the trace info we care about when comparing. So it would be, I think, one of the most flexible solutions. So that's sort of where my thought process was going. Now, to be honest, I haven't really done like network programming in a super long time. It's almost embarrassing, really, because like I've been working in video games for a long time and I've worked on a bunch of multiplayer games, but I haven't actually written a lot of networking code myself. So then I thought, okay, so I haven't done that, and you know, maybe that's something like on stream. You know, people might be like, you know, I thought maybe, you know, I shouldn't be doing that on stream, and then I thought, well, why not, right? This is really personal projects for me to learn, and doing this would help me to learn more about network programming. So that sounded like an interesting opportunity for me. So yeah, so that's sort of where my thought process is going right now. So on that note, I started searching what are good C++ network libraries. And apparently there's a whole list here. And then I noticed that in the list is this SDLnet, which is a SDL2 based networking library. So I'm using SDL2, so I thought that kind of would make sense. You know, it would be cross-platform and would fit right into the SDL2 stuff I've got. So I also checked to see, where is it? Yeah, so I'm using VC package, right? And I searched for SDL2, and in the list, SDL2net is there, networking library for SDL. So I thought that looks cool. So I could probably use that. Now, where was it? I was reading something right here. Oh yeah, here. So this says this is a small sample cross-platform networking library with a sample chat client and server application. The chat client uses the GUI-lib GUI framework library. Instructions: unpack and build, run chatd to start the server. So, right. So yeah, I think it would be cool to kind of just take a look at this code. Development libraries, runtime binaries, documentation. So maybe we'll take a look at the documentation. Start familiarizing myself a little bit with this. Or not. Okay, so I guess this link is dead. And on this side, maybe this one. Ah, here we go. So allows programmers to use network functionality. So the demonstration code, we've got demos here. What's this? Oh, okay, so you can actually just browse the code here, or you can download demos. I love how they have Amiga support. It's awesome. Alright. What does this look like? Okay, so that's the same thing we just saw. So yeah, let's extract this somewhere. I'll put it in. Let's see. Here, and I'll use VS Code. Just take a look at this. Oh, actually I could use Visual Studio with the open folder feature. cold in my basement. I didn't turn on the heat before, so kind of gotta warm up in here. Alright, so folder, was it? Open, folder. Alright, so what will I be doing? I see TCP server and TCP client, so that's probably what I want. Right, so it's not finding any of the libraries because it's not hooked up, but that's okay. So we've got so we need to initialize it. So get the port from the command line, sure. Resolve the argument into an IP address type. So I guess this is a string. And unfortunately it's because I don't have the code. Anyway, so that would make sense probably. It's just an IP address and we store it into this IP address structure. This would be probably the string and the dot format. Port. Open the server socket. SDLnet TCP open. And then read the buffer from standard in. Okay, so enter a message or queue to make the server quit. Strip the new line. Queue to make the server quit. Okay. So it's print out sending this message. So here we say SDLnet TCP send sock message length. Add 1 for the null. Where are they adding 1? And if the result is less than len, we got an error. Okay, so it's supposed to return how many bytes it's sent from the thing. It should be equal to len. So a few things here that I think are maybe just out of date comments or something, because it says to enter queue to make the server quit, but there's no processing of queue or anything, so it just takes the message and sends it. Probably this used to be a loop. Right. So yeah, this looks pretty easy for the but this is TCP client, so this is sending information to the server after connecting to a server. And let's look at the server. Okay, so this one has 2 sockets. So now it only has one, its own. This has a server and then the client that's connected to it. So here we tell it which port to listen on. We don't need to say the IP address. Initialize SDLnet init, get the port, resolve the argument into an IP address type. So here we don't pass it the IP because we don't need it. We just need to say I want to listen on this port. We open the server socket. So how does it know? It's SDLNet TCP open versus SDLNet TCP open. So maybe just by virtue of the fact that it has no IP address in there, it knows that it's a socket, a server connection, I mean. So, alright, so here's a loop for the server. Try to accept a connection. So here we say accept. No connection accepted. Sleep, and then continue. So here we just keep trying until we get a connection, so that's cool. Get the client's IP and port number. So once we have a connection, we say SDLNet TCP get peer address of the client. That's the remote IP, which was, yeah, it's one. It's actually a pointer to an IP address. So I guess it's getting that information from within this client structure. All right, so that's just for us to be able to then use this remote IP for printing purposes. Print out the client IP and port number, sure. Okay, so we have a endian swap function. Accept a connection from blah, port blah. Oh, really? They don't have a nice way to convert this? No, it's fine. Okay, remote IP port. Okay, read the buffer from the client. So here we use SDLNet TCP receive. So that's to go with the send over here. It returns how many bytes it actually received. Oh, and then immediately closes. Oh, okay, now I see. If we sent Q to the server, that's what they mean here. Enter a message or Q to make the server quit. Okay, so that totally makes sense now. So if it received a Q, so that's what it's looking at here. Then it says quitting on Q received. Otherwise, it loops back and then waits for another client connection. Oh, okay. Yeah, this looks pretty easy. I wonder what this is. Time sync. Anyway, I don't really need to do more than this. So yeah, this looks like pretty easy, and I could totally use this code to get started anyway. Alright, so let's say we start with at least grabbing the package. How does that work again? Install. Did I install the right one? x86 Windows. I think I was supposed to specify something else. Let me see. Oh yeah. Supposed to tell it that I want the x86 Windows static version. It's alright, I'll let this one finish and I'll just download the one I want. Okay, well this is much slower than I thought, but I don't want to really cut it off because I don't want to leave VC package in a weird state. Should be done soon. So there are some things I'm going to have to change here. Yeah, should be fine. Come on. Oh, you know what? Screw it. Okay, so what we wanted was... There we go. So if we do this way, after installing that, oh, that was fast. Okay. I don't know why it took so long before. Here, and I'm gonna have to go change my CMake lists. I don't know what I'm supposed to search for. I'm gonna have to go take a look. So here's SDL2net. Alright, I had to find SDL2, so it might be more complex to find this one as well. The joys of CMake and find package. Hey Meshu, how's it going? Thanks, man. Thanks for the good luck. Let me see if I can find it. SDL.net CMake. Yeah, it needs to find a separate package, it seems. I wonder if there is a find for this in CMake. Oh, look at that. Find SDL2 net. So I know that find SDL2 on its own. No, sorry, find SDL. I needed a find SDL2, but I wonder if this guy might work for me. No, this is for SDL1. So annoying. Okay. Maybe what I'll do is I'll look for find SDL2 net. Oh, no, that's it. That's find SDL. Maybe find SDL2. Okay, here we go. Starting to find something here. Which one do I want? Alright, so let's grab this and see if it'll work for us. Eric Wing, is that the same one who made the other one that I'm using? I think I recognize that name. Yeah, modified by Eric Wing. Okay, so thank you, Eric Wing, whoever you are. Let's see if this works. Gotta find SDL2 net. I may need to modify this, but Meshu asks, can you ask a question? Yeah, sure. You can ask any questions. So for this one, we want to say find package SDL2_net, I suppose. So I'm learning OpenGL game development, but I am a Linux user. You think should I install Windows? No, I don't think so. Lots of people do game dev on Linux. I mean, I guess it depends what you want to do, but if you're doing OpenGL, I think you should be okay, right? If you want to do like really advanced kind of, you know, direct 3D graphics rendering, you might have better driver support, you know, for Windows. But I think for most people, you can use Linux, Mac, Windows. I don't think there's a real big problem there. I mean, have you faced any issues so far? Have you found like some friction working in Linux? I know a lot of game dev articles or books and stuff focus on Windows because Windows is pretty much the de facto PC OS for games, right? And that's thanks to Microsoft and DirectX. So maybe there's a lot more instructions out there for that kind of thing. But I mean, if you're used to Linux, I feel like when you know Linux, you know pretty much the most complex OS in terms of configuring and all that, and like it should be pretty easy for a Linux user to adapt, you know, instructions and stuff for other OSs. That's my feeling anyway. Okay, so let's see if this find package even works. That's gonna be step one. So I think I need to, will this work here? Oh wow, look at that. That's awesome. So it actually found SDL2net. That's really cool. No problem. Okay, so it said that in here libraries, includers, found, version string. So I really need basically libraries and includers. I'm noticing that he says for backwards compat he's supporting the one that is not pluralized, which makes me wonder, if I look at my find SDL, must be the same thing, right? Oh, maybe not. Oh, so anyway, whatever. Okay, so SDL includer, SDL2 net includers, and then I need the libraries. So target link libraries, I'll put it right here. Alright, so now ostensibly I should have what I need to include and start linking against this library. So let's take a look. That might be fine. Let me take a look here. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Because I think SDL net stuff is in here. Yeah. Okay, so that's good for that. And then let's take a look at the libraries. Yeah, okay, so there's SDL2net. And this is a static lib, so no DLL to worry about. Meshu asks, is you know PC demos scene events? Yes, I do. I've never been to one, but I mean, I know what they are. I'm not really a I don't have like any demo scene experience there. Like I haven't done any demos or anything, but I like to look at them. I like to see what people do. Last year I watched on Twitch. What's that big one there? The one that's in, I think it's in November. Like the biggest biggest demo scene event. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, so what's that one there? I think it's in Germany. I'm sure you must know what I'm talking about. Revision. So I was watching this one last year, and it was really cool. I think it was Revision. There was like a really cool like GPU competition, like shader competition, where you had like two programmers go up to the front on a stage, and you had a DJ mixing in the middle, and like the music that the DJ was mixing was being fed to these fragment shaders as inputs, right? And then basically they had, I think, was it 15 minutes or 17 minutes or some ridiculously short amount of time to like write the coolest shader, and it was a competition. It was super cool. So this is your group? If you don't mind, I'm not gonna play it all here or anything because it is 13 minutes, but I will watch it. Just watch it later. But it looks really cool, man. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at this later. Old world champions. Okay, so let me see now if I can include that SDL2 net. What was it? SDL? Yeah, like this. No? Oh, SDL.h. Maybe it's just SDLnet, I think that's what it was, right? Yes. Okay. Now technically I don't really want to be bringing SDL code directly into my debugger. I'll probably be hiding that behind some abstraction, but just to see if this works. Okay, so actually what we'll do to test this is we'll move this include right away into SDL engine, and we're going to go to our SDL init. Alright, so we are getting linker errors, unfortunately. Ah, yes. I know what this is. Just missed a follow there. Is it Manas Bansal? Thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, so this is because I need, if I'm going to be using network stuff, I'm going to have to link against extra libraries. Like the WinSock libraries. Oh, you know what I see here? Yeah, so I need ws232.lib. So I've got this, just like here, how I required these libraries for STL2. It's because we're using the static version. That's why. Set STL2 required libs, and then over here we do this. So I'll add it to the list. That might be enough. Reload the solution, build. Unresolved. Okay, so get adapter info. What do we need for get adapter info? Okay, some library here. Sorry, not to run CMake. Oh, did it actually figure it out? Let's see. Yeah, I think it figured it out. It ran CMake. Or not. Just give me a second. Put it back. Okay, we're good. We're linking. Not too bad. And let's see if this actually inits. Okay, good. Okay, so let's try and keep this simple. I'm going to start with the most simple way of exposing all this stuff. I want to do with the server. I suppose listen. Make this like a blocking call. And we'll go with C++ types here. Listen on a port. No, maybe I'll just go with what they did. Call it IP. Keep it simple. I'll just do this for now. Was this not the pointer, or was it? Oh, I think it was the IP address that was the pointer. Right. Okay. Yeah, it's not really the right way. Maybe I'll do like try listen or something. And we'll do here is like a timeout. Actually, you know what? Forget all this. Forget this. We'll just try to connect. And we shall return if what? What does it do again? Just check not client. Okay, that's why, because it's a pointer. All right. So we can try to listen. We'll do this in a loop or something somewhere. Then we'll have a client. And then we'll have a read. What do we want for this? Because I'm going to want to be reading different size buffers. So do I want to be doing something where I give it a buffer that I'm expecting and then I read until I fill it in? Why does it say over the non-server socket? It stores it in the buffer pointed to by data. Alright, because we read from a client socket, okay. Store into buffer. This function returns the actual amount of data received. If the return value is less than or equal to 0, then either the remote connection was closed or an unknown socket error occurred. Right. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do to keep this simple is we'll do something like receive, read, let's say read, send, no, let's go for receive. And what did it say before? if the return value is less than or equal to 0, then we have a problem. Okay, so for now I'll just put a maybe not. Return size less than or equal to 0. Yeah, actually, let's do this. And then we'll say try to listen. Maybe try accept is better. Just going with the names they have here. We want close. And do we close the client one as well? Guess. I don't know. Okay, so that's a server. And let's write our, I'll call this a TCP server. wonder if I have to do anything with the IP address. Okay, I'm doing this on the socket, but then here it's an IP address that we pass into open, right? Yeah. Returns the socket, we close the socket. Right. Okay, so we can just clear these here. Let's do that. Alright, IP, I'll put like that. Alright, so in the case of the client, we're going to want to give it an IP address and a port. Okay, this is open. Then well, I guess it's kind of connect as well. Because here we have like an accept connection thing from the server. I don't know. Close here. All right. Now we need similarly a send. Okay. If the return value is less than the amount of data sent, then either the remote connection is closed or an unknown socket error occurred. So it's actually not that, it's in size of t. Okay, so this should be enough for me to be able to spin up a server and a client, connect them, and start sending some data. So let's test this out right here in my engine here. So what we'll do is we'll pass in here. Let's do it here. Let's go on port what was it again? We had an SDL delay or something. Okay. Similarly, path client, let's try. Listen on localhost, and we will pass it the same port. We'll say while true, send this, and then SDL delay. We'll put every second. And actually, so this is a test string %d. Does this work? String view? That's literally the first time I use string view. Okay, so this built. Before I run it, I just want to say here, do that, and then here we'll say server accepting connection. And we have a receive here. And for the client, we'll say opening connection, and then that's it. Okay, so let's see if this works. Right. BIOS ROM not found. Why does it even care? Oh, sorry, it's 1 here, that's why. No. Okay, so could be the stream view thing. Oh no, that went in. Server opening connection. So why does it work when I debug it, but not when I run it from here? Okay, I think I know why. This registers the client. Client agent gets called down here. So no, I don't understand. Okay, but it's like when I run it from the command line, it doesn't get into the same place. It actually skips ahead and gets this BIOS ROM file not found, which doesn't make any sense. Okay, what am I missing here? I'm like going crazy. Build 2017 debug. That is the exe that just got built. Like if I run it here with no arguments, what I expect is that fail to occur. So root path set. Okay, actually the root path set thing happens right at the beginning. Oh, right. This is the error of BIOS ROM not found. But why isn't it found? Go up 1, go up 2. There's the BIOS ROM right there. Fascinating. So for some reason, this find and set root path, which is a function I wrote like a couple weeks ago, seems to have different behavior when I run it here from the debugger and when I run it. It makes no sense at all. Checking path, and it's path dot. Something turns this into a string, is it this? What was it again that allowed me to get? Oh, it's right here. fs current path dot string dot c string. So we go into build 2017 debug 1035. Huh. Oh, I see. Okay, so it's like faulty logic. That makes sense now. argv of 0, when I run it from like the debugger, it gets a full path and then I can convert that into a path. But when I run it from the command line, it just gets the exe name. Okay. So then what is the way to get the path of my executable? Is there a way to do that? Say boost file system just to see how they do it. Path of executable. System complete. I wonder if I have something like this. It was under path? No. Oh, it's file system. Yeah, system complete. Okay, let's see. It does have system complete. Now, of course, I don't know if this is actually part of the C++ file system. I'm gonna guess not. Oh, it is there. It's called absolute or system complete. Isn't this something I don't understand? Because actually this is the full path, even argv 0, so how did does path remove the executable? Let me see. Oh, it does indeed. Okay, so let's try. There's a lot of parentheses. Okay, so if I do this, does this still work? Works here, and now let's see if it works from here. Alright, that works. Good, good, good. And of course I can't kill this. Okay, I just killed the process. So that runs server, and I should be able to run client. So we'll start a server, and we'll start the client. Oh, actually we saw that we had a problem. Received. Okay, so it's actually receiving now. Strange. What just happened? Oh, you know what? I know what happened. It's input buffering, I think. Not sure actually. Don't really set that till later. No, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so let's try that again. Actually, let's do this. And then here we'll debug client and connect to it. Opening connection. Send. Wait a second, and send, wait. So apparently we're sending, but this guy is not printing. So what does it take for him to print? Is it, oh, it's because it's not, it needs a new line in the buffer for it to see it. That must be it. It's because we are printing it on the server side, but then that is being buffered because there's no new line. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So let's, although there is a new line here, so that doesn't make any sense. I need to debug the server as well. See, here's all the receives, so when I disconnect, it suddenly receives a bunch. Okay, let's just debug with 2 instances here. So this will be our server on the left side, and this will be our client. put a breakpoint here. Launch the client. Okay, there we go. So we got the try accept. Now we block on the receive. We send, and then here we... Oh. Okay, so my bug is that receive is not returning what expected. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, that makes some more sense. Basically, my return here is wrong. So what do I want to say exactly? Do I want to make sure that it's exactly equal to the length that we passed in? I guess we do want to say that. That would be exactly what we want. For this kind of receive anyway. Server. Okay, there we go. Cool. Okay, so that's working. Now obviously I didn't do much error handling and there's all kinds of room for error here, but for my purposes right now, definitely is a good start. So the next step is exposing these, and the thing is, I want to expose them, but so far I've been wanting to keep the SDL bit private, so I might have to use my pimple stuff to implement it that way. Which sucks. Or I could use virtual functions. Yeah, I could do that too. That's probably fine. And have like some little factory to create these. See, the problem is if I put these in header files, these types, which come directly from SDL, means I'm exposing SDL to the rest of my engine. So I only have a few options here. One option is to use inheritance and polymorphism in C++. So this becomes like a virtual class, and I'll have like an SDL TCP server and SDL TCP client, and then I have to have a factory function that returns like probably a unique pointer to these things. So there's all that. That's dealing with a heap and virtual functions. Or I have to do like, or I can do like the pimple idiom, which is what I did, you know, for example, for my CPU, where the CPU has this interface, and then I have this pimple class here that hides the actual CPU implementations, just the actual full implementation in the CPP file. The only thing that sucks about that is you have to create forwarding functions for everything, which is similar to the cost of having virtual functions. The one advantage here is that this can be created easily on the stack. You don't have to have any unique pointer, heap allocation. There's some cache friendliness there as well. So it feels more like a, you know, a proper value type this way, which is exactly what it is. So there are a lot of advantages to this whole pimple thing. Just a bit annoying that you have to implement your own forwarding functions. Maybe what I can do is, as a first, I'll make it a to-do to privatize all this stuff. See if that works out. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll say TCP fear that what's going to happen is including this won't be enough. I'll have to include like a whole slew of things, especially because I'm on Windows. So that'll pretty much make the decision for this. Let's find out. Can't type tonight. Okay, so I might be able to get away with it because this looked like it compiled. Actually, I want to say it's polymorphic type. So I have the SDL init. I forgot to put the SDL net quit, so let me just put that there as well. So here in the debugger, which is where I probably want to handle this stuff. Maybe? Cool. So I'm pretty much set up now to be able to add this stuff to the debugger, but it is already 11 and I was hoping to go to bed earlier tonight, so I'm gonna stop here and yeah, we'll resume next stream, so that should be next Monday if I'm not feeling sick again. So guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.